Hi, 228. Today we are going to go over the practice problems for the practice exam 1. So on part 1, I'm looking at my geometry here. And again, this exam is posted on Blackboard. So if you want to follow along with us, you can. I'm looking at my geometry and I'm seeing that really it's my front face that has the most complex geometry. It's going to be easier to do an outline of this and then extrude back. Just friendly reminder, you already know this. Front face, top, right. So standard views. I've got a little isometric view here just to help you see what the part looks like a little bit, but it's really just for reference. You can get it from these 3 orthographic projections. So if I'm going to start with this front face, I'm going to move this off to the side. Get a new part going. Making sure my units are in inches. And I'm going to start with a sketch. Okay, so we talked about using that front plane. All right, and I'm going to start with my slot. I want it to be in the center, and it's going to be easier to do if I draw it a little bit off first. So then I'm going to select this point, that point, hold control, select my origin, make them coincident. I'm going to go in with a center rectangle. So I have my center selected from one of my previous sketches, and I'm doing roughly the shape. Next, I'm going in with my circles, trying to make sure that I'm being very strategic about what relations I'm adding to this piece. I'm going to go ahead and draw a construction line across this piece. Okay. Let's finish up by drawing my geometry. So I'm going to go up a little, over, down without touching, and then out. And then there's a whole bunch of ways you could do this. I often will draw a circle and then like make that point and that tangent and then make those 2 points coincident. Probably the more elegant way to do this is with an arc. So I'm going to select a starting point here somewhere. And I don't know, a little bit like that. What else? All right, so I'll do the same thing over here, making sure. All right. Feeling pretty good about this. Got a line here I want to add. All right, so I'm going to start smart dimensioning. I'm going to start with my slot. So I was off with my proportions, and so that arc kind of got wonky on me. So I went ahead and deleted it. I'll come back into it. And things have gone a little bit sideways for me here. So let me adjust my sketch some. There we go. Things are starting to come together for us now. That's the inner circle. All right, I'm going to go back after this arc here. So before I dimension it, I'm going to add the relations that I need. And I need this arc to be tangent to both this line and that circle. So I'm going to add my first, and then my second relation. Now I'm going to smart dimension it. It looks like it's 0.5. These 3 points to all be inline and horizontal. There we go. I'm going to trim up some of these lines that I don't need. All right. I don't think I have this slot. All right. There we go. Oh, yeah. I don't actually know if you can tell that I had to pause the recording or not. If you can't, ignore this. If you can, I had to pause the recording. Oh, I still need this piece to be fully defined. I don't know. There we go. Oof. All right. I trimmed this up already. Yeah. Need to be tangent. There we go. All right. Get rid of these construction lines instead of arbitrarily dimensioning them. Okay, so now that I've got my complex geometry, I'm actually going to hide my dimensions and relations so that you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. Okay, so this was the hard part, right? Let's trim up. Okay, so now I'm going to mirror both of those so I don't have to go through the pain of sketching them again. So I'm going to go to my mirror entities, box a little bigger, and I'm just going to select all the lines that I want to mirror. And then my mirror about, I'm going to do that center axes. Great. So now I've got these lines. My last thing is to trim up in here, and there. What doesn't it like? All right. Okay, so now let's start extruding. My sketch is highlighted blue. So I'm going to go to extruded boss base. And I'm going to start with this center piece. So if you had something that was already selected, if it had already tried, you can right click and like clear selection or delete on your keyboard. But mine is empty, so I came in and I selected this center part, and I want this. Oh, my sketch says that it is 0.5 thick. I'm going to do a mid-plane, though, because I know that I'm going to have a different distance, extrusion distance here, and then here, and here. So just to keep it easy and centered, I'm going to go into my directions, mid-plane, and then 0.5. Great. Okay, next I'm going to do this piece and this piece together. So I do my little drop-down arrow here. Make sure sketch 1 is highlighted, or whichever sketch you were working on. Hit extruded boss base. And this time I'm going to select this piece and this piece. I want it to be 1 inch, and I'm going to do mid-plane. Okay, so the last piece that I need to extrude is this middle piece here. So again, I'm going to make sure my sketch 1 is highlighted blue. I do that by clicking on it once. I'll go to extrude boss base. And select in here. So again, mid-plane, leave it 0.25. Nice. Okay. Okay, so I've got the extrusions, and so the next thing I want to do is deal with those little arcs up at the top here, so you can see them in my sketch. A little smaller. So it's this piece here that I want to add. I've drawn up to here. That's my 0.25. But I need that top arc and then to cut those holes through it. So I'm going to go into sketch, select sketch, and I want to select this plane. Go ahead and draw a line there. Just look at this from the right plane. Let's Nice and even. And I'm going to go ahead and draw my circles. Then I'm going to cut through. You could do it with Whole Wizard too, but it's just as easy in this case, since it's not really a complex geometry, to do an extruded cut. Okay, so I've got my sketch fully defined. And I'm going to extrude these pieces back first. Okay, so my sketch is selected, it's blue. Go to my Features tab, extruded. I want this, that. I need to flip my direction. Goes back to 0.5, which is already selected. Okay. And so then last, clicking on that sketch again, so it's highlighted blue, left click once, extruded cut. And it is guessed wrong. So clear selections, I want it to cut out that piece. Nice. Okay, so for the purposes of this video, so I don't know, maybe it was right or wrong, but I've left my parametric equations to the end. On the one hand, then I don't have to, I can just get the geometry and then come back in and deal with this. On the other hand, if you aren't thinking strategically about where you want your dimensions to be placed, your life is just going to get harder. So let's look at what the directions say on the exam. All right, so it says to set up the parametric relationships such that the slot length, green box, blue, is always 6/13 of the length of the part. So it's the ratio that it is. The slot location. Okay, so this is, you can do it with relationships, but in this example, I'm actually going to create a relation for this dimension as well. So this is my reference dimension, and then I'm going to do two parametric equations. So I'm going to double click to pull up that modify box. Always start with the equal sign. And you're having trouble, make sure that that's what you've done. So equal sign, the number I want, which is 3, divided by the reference number, which in this case is 6.5. Multiply sign, that little asterisk, and now actually click on that dimension. Get your green check. And there we go. And so I'm going to do the same thing here because I know that I want my slot to stay in the relative same position. So equal sign 1.5, that's the number I want, divided by my reference number, 6.5, times, actually click on that dimension. So it looks like I'm in good shape. It's possible that I've added a relation that I didn't mean to. So always, always, always try your part, change this dimension and make sure that it's scaling nicely. So I'm gonna go crazy, change it to 8. Ha, all right, nice. So it's scaling the way that I want. This piece is staying the same, but the slot is staying in relatively the same position. Where you can get into trouble is if you fixed points to your screen. So if I fixed this somewhere, I might end up shoving my slot off to the side, moving it around. So really, truly check before you turn in. Because it doesn't do any good to have parametric relations if it's not connected to the part the way you think it should be. And that's it. So this piece needed a drawing sheet. And I'm going to go ahead and do that just to complete the exam. Okay, so save this. Save it in my downloads. Part 1. Okay, so now I can make drawing sheet. Oh, not that. I'll put it on a size B. Okay, so I'm going to have it bring in my standard 3 views. And I'm going to go ahead and put in, well, let's see what the directions say. Okay, create a drawing sheet with 3 orthographic projections and the part fully dimensioned. For focal points, the part must be oriented correctly, views in correct location, dimensions must be legible. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and put an isometric view up in the corner, though the directions don't say that you need it, so you don't have to. I'd like my isometric views to be solid, so I clicked on the view. I can come over to this pop-up here under display style. I'm going to do shaded with edges. Also, I hate when I don't want to see this origin. So I'll go into what's visible, and I'm just going to turn off the origin. So it's already added a lot of the pieces I want. Now I have to decide, do I want the scale to be a little bit bigger? Let's see what it looks like at 1:1. So I'm clicking on the base view, which is the front view. I'm going into use custom scale. I'm going to try 1:1. Yeah. I think that fills out my sheet a little bit nicer. Okay, so it's added center marks for my circle here and there, but it hasn't for my slot or the circle, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. In the annotation tab, I'm going to start with the center marks. So this piece, and then I want it for the slot as well. So I switch to the slot, and I think that's all I want. For these holes, I'm going to do a center line. So I'm going to add my center line there. I want it one there. I think that's all I'm going to see. Okay. So now I can go in and start adding dimensions. If you want, you can use the model item tool. Don't say that I told you, but entire model, import into all views, eliminate duplicates, yes. Don't do that. So you could. So let's see what it looks like. There we go. It's not done a terrible job. I'm going to have to go back in and manipulate these, but I can do that. I don't know. I'll leave it there for now. Okay, so I would still need to go in and change some of these. Maybe some of them I would want to delete and put them on different views, like this dimension here. I really would want it between those 2 center views. Oof. I might delete it and replace it. But let's also go in and change the text font. So if I go to my system options, so I did that little gear, settings, switch over to document properties, dimensions, but it would be the same. Like, so for your bill of materials, like it's in tables, your annotations. So, but in this case, I need to change the size of my dimension font. So click dimensions, hitting font. And it's at 13. I don't know, let's bump it up to 18. Yeah, it's a little bit better. I like it. So I'm not going to take the time here. I don't think it's worth your time probably to completely finish out this drawing, moving those dimensions so that they look nice and precise. If you have questions about that, I'd be more than happy to answer them in person. This is still messy. I would want you to clean this up a little bit. When in doubt, it's a nice bet to make your drawing sheet look like what I gave you on the part. So with that, we're going to end this video. See you for part 2.